Welcome to Dragon's Tome. This is the show where we go through Dragon Magazine, starting at 1 to 1,000. There wasn't 1,000 of them. This is number 172. My name's Rob.
I'm Jack.
And I'm Copper.
We're here to discuss 172 from Dragon Magazine. It's August 1991. I was in high school. Jack was in high school. Pat was a grandfather.
I was just finishing college. I think this is my last year. 91 to 92.
Rob's setting the tone of this show.
I'm starting to roll back into D&D again.
This cover
and actually finding guys to play with.
Oh, this cover is friend of the show. The Worm is Churned by Clyde Caldwell, and
long-time listener, long-time friend.
This is his new wife as the model for this one. Vavavoom, as we would say.
And she's a killer.
She's a stout woman. She looks like she could crush you with her thighs. And she killed whatever that creature is. It's disgusting.
It is weird. I can't tell if it's upside down.
It is
assuming it's upside down.
He's got his little arms in the air.
Yeah, but the rest of it doesn't look like it's upside down.
It does have two little minute cat eyes at the bottom if you look, but it blends in with the buboes along the side. Yeah. Either way, it's a big worm.
It's like a dole from Call of Cthulhu. But yeah, so this is a Clyde Caldwell Especial, and it's a classic.
What do you say? You can't say anything bad about Clyde. Clyde is like one of the artists at this time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Him and Elmore
and the fourth, the Parkinson, and who's the fourth?
Yeah.
Easily.
I'll make a bold statement.
Yeah, easily.
Caldwell, always my favorite.
Yeah,
always.
Caldwell's always been my favorite too. I would put him at the top of the list.
I have another favorite, but I won't disparage Clyde by mentioning the other favorite's name.
If Jeff Grubb wrote it or Jim Ward was involved, or it was.
Yeah, there's definitely
in my mind.
Yeah,
and a Caldwell is the same thing. Like
faux show. Yeah, he speaks quality.
Mm-hmm.
I just noticed there's something, or is that a little? It looked like there's something dripping off the end of her scabbard, but I think that's a little tassel or something at the end of her scabbard.
Yeah, it's a lucky rabbit's foot.
It caught my eye. I was like, "What's dripping off her scabbard?"
You did stop, and with the laser focus, that usually means, guys, I forgot to press record, or hey, there's something wrong with the recording. So you went, oh. I thought,
I was like, what is that? Anyways,
let's any longer than I have to.
We don't have to be funny again. Let's move into the show proper. Pat is wearing the red today, so he gets to go first. Patrick.
Okay, let's go to lucky number 13.
13.
Seeing the Sights of Skullport by our good friend, longtime listener, Dr. Ed Greenwood.
And page 12 is the amazing
Stephen Shind. Yes. So this is Skullport, as told by Laurel again. She's back after stealing their cat in the last article. She spins the tales of the new box set coming out, Ruins of the Undermountain, and expands on the city of Skullport, which is the underground city underneath Waterdeep. Water Park. And it just describes it all down to good services.
Yeah, it's like the thieves area.
Yeah, it's your typical pirate city. You can do anything. I mean, so again, we talked about this with the Dark Sun thing, but under good services, it literally is an article. There's a whole thing on slaves here. So I don't know. If this comes in the near light, if this comes in the 5th edition with Dr. Greenwood,
they might edit that one out.
Yeah. I get it, but I also understand that this is fantasy. And
guess what? Slavery existed. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I mean,
guess what? Slavery exists to this day.
That's right. Yeah. So we just by forgetting about it doesn't make it go away.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe we should discuss it and fight against it.
Pretending it doesn't exist doesn't make it go away. But
you can roll that wallpaper over.
I understand why.
Some lumps.
Yeah.
I can understand why people don't want it. I'm not going to argue that fact. So
No. I, for one, I will put my foot down. I am offended that I cannot seek the sensual pleasures of a slave.
And I will.
You can put that
Quote Jack on that
I
one.
stand by
Can we cut that out? Hey Pat,
Yeah.
remember we used to do shorts?
Hold on.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. What I meant to say was,
Let's retract that.
Yeah, it does list some major players, and again, some of these are characters I don't know if they be in today's D&D. Is Amerigo, who's the slaver king, who's the guy you go to get your slaves, and there's Vondrel, and Sean, which are the two top drug lords where you can get your illegal poisons and stuff.
I'm pretty sure drugs are okay.
The one that kills me the most about this is that Sean is a mind flayer, and that's his name. Sean.
Sean the Mind Flayer.
Just, hey, have you talked to Sean? Oh, you mean the mind flayer? Yeah. That's a weird name for a mind flayer. Sean? Well, don't tell him that because he'll eat your brain.
well, it depends how it's spelt.
Yeah. It's spelled S-H-A-U-N.
If it's spelt like scene, well then.
No.
He's an Irish mind flayer then.
Yeah.
It's literally spelled like Sean. Like not like Sean Cassidy, but
a Gaelic lilt and
yeah.
You can't tell, but he's a ginger.
Top of the morning to you.
He's a ginger mind flayer, so his tentacles are red. So it's I mean, if you love Forgotten Realms like I do, it really expands on it. And it's been a long time since I looked at the Runes of Unearned box that I don't know how much more this adds to your Skullport entry in that box set. But I do want to maybe break it out and look through it and see if it actually has this map that's here. Because if it doesn't, then this is a really good map of Skullport. It gives you a where things are at and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we'll have to blot out Area C.
Oh, what is Area C?
Ooh.
Oh, yes. It's a slaver's market, Jack.
Yeah, I was gonna make a phallic joke because you kind of, when you look at the map, you're like, oh, you bought out the whole thing. It looks like a giant member, but
if it got broke.
Yeah, then Peyronie's disease took over at one point. And
I'm the one who goes there, Jack. What happened here? It's opposite
drug
day.
Reference.
It's opposite day.
It's opposite day.
I set up so that I could use a word that no one uses. That's my bit. If I had said, "Hey, let's go get some crank over at the and free base some Skullport," then that'd have been a you.
That'd probably be in Trader's Lane. I would think you get some crank.
Yeah. Does it even say? Where would you get that stuff? I'd have to look at their entry.
Anyways, that's
that's it.
I was going to call it Slaveport. It's Skullport.
This is what I'm hearing in my ear. Stop saying slaves.
Yeah. If we were monetized, this would the way to get demonetized.
We've reached a Austin Powers level of mole.
Mole. Jack, let's get us out of here. What's your first article? Please tell me it's not about slaves.
On page slave. No.
Damn it.
My first article is on page 76, please.
Oh, this was one of mine. Uh-oh.
Completing the complete fighter. Well,
I knew you guys would take this one, so I stayed away from it.
My best friend Robert, I take my hand. Let's. What?
I'm taking your hand.
Say it again.
Oh, I did say best friend. One of my best friends, Robert.
Oh, Pat got offended.
Take my hand. We will double team this.
Tag team, as you might say.
Tag team it. Yes, we will complete
tag
this.
Team?
This article.
Get the dogs out.
No, finger cuffs.
This article will be the line of the A, and Rob and I will be the two killers. Completing
H.
The complete fighter. Now
the A is a little too close to you. I prefer an H.
Really?
I'm not. Come on.
Okay, well,
we're not that good of friends, Jack. Anyways, the complete fighter. This is
I am yes, I am more sensitive and a little more.
He's more loving. It's true.
Tactile and loving. Yes. the Complete Fighter's Handbook had come out. It was the AD&D second edition supplement
book.
that the Splat book, or what they called them at the time, the Velveteen Rabbit, something or other.
Leatherettes.
Leatherette,
Warm
that's what it was.
Leatherette.
And it has the fighter kits that we all know and love from second edition, which is basically like an archetype.
Yeah.
These are a few more archetypes. Well, it does say, hey, like there's a couple things in the handbook I disagree with, but David Howery,
stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane. Why I'm lashing out at the late great David Howery? Why did I just do that? I don't know. I don't know. Rest in peace, David.
Yes.
Yep. I'll pour a 40 out for you later. So it has a fighter assassin, it has a fighter nomad, and a fighter Northman. So basically, it gives races you're allowed, and some other stuff that I had forgot that
Classic
fighter kits.
Yeah, that's how the kits work.
How they worked. But it describes what they do, what their role is, and kind of gives you a little. It doesn't pigeonhole them, but it does kind of like here's
There's specialties. It gives each one like a little special thing.
Yes, makes them special and stands out. It doesn't like pigeonhole them, and I think the nomad is like the barbarian, the Hun barbarian,
Mongol hordes. Yeah, horse archers, that kind of thing.
The steep fighters
that kind of got like in with regular barbarians. There was a kind of like.
Well, I think they show up in Oriental Adventures with the Kara Tour expansion, right?
Well, they came in that the horde. They were the bad guys, but these are it's just horse archers. Pretty much, these guys are. They don't get hindrances from shooting on a horseback and stuff. And the assassin is in the thief handbook, but this is a fighter assassin, so it's just like a brute strength version of the thief assassin.
It goes into what would the difference be? Hey, it's just a fighter, but it's a fighter that kills for money, and it gives a little bit of background, and it is unique enough. I don't think
they're private killers for money.
I don't think they had. I'm doing the Northman and the Riders. I just need one more. A dictionary assassin. Okay, no, there was
always a discussion of even old assassin articles talking about fighter assassins instead of thief assassins. We've come across these before. And then the Northman is just I call it a sailing barbarian because it's pretty much it's a Viking, obviously, and it's just pretty much a barbarian who gets to sail. He gets all sailing bonuses.
And he does say that there's a Viking campaign book out. There's other sources. So but yes, that is the archetype that he's going for, like a Viking.
Yeah, Viking. Yeah, it's fun little additions, and I'm especially amazed the nomads and the Northmen aren't in the book anyways. But I found it was a fun little article. Anything else we have to say about that, Jack?
No.
Can we finish?
Rob?
Hey, what? I just asked if we finished with the article. Jack, stop thinking I'm innuendoing. My article is going to be on page 8, because we're going back to the editorial. This is editorial by, this one's by Dale A. Donovan, what do they call it? The assistant editor. And it's getting lost in translation. He's talking about translating fiction into RPGs, and that every time you do it, something gets lost. Like you can't really do it. People try to do it a lot, and but he gives an example about Robin Hood robbing the fun-loving Robin Hood, robbing the PCs, and then the PCs will fall in love with Robin Hood. He's the most charismatic, and how it never works out, and the PCs try to kill him and hated the fact that he stole.
I want my stuff back. Yeah. Jesus.
So unlike in the Prince of Thieves, the classic Kevin Costner movie that he just watched, that it doesn't usually work out because you can't trust PCs to follow the plot. They never follow plots.
No men in tights, that's for sure.
That's true.
if there's anything that anyone who's been a DM knows, you can't trust them not to try and kill the NPCs.
No, you can't.
Go on
trust
tangents.
them not to, they are a wily.
You can't trust them to get the clearest clue that you could ever give them.
You can write a million pathways from one point to another, and your PCs will always find the one pathway you didn't write.
Yeah.
But also they'll just get a bug up their butt, and they'll fall in love with an NPC just
or the opposite.
Just as fast as they decide they have to kill them.
There's a good example of Jack's one. There was a kindly old sage who was trying to help us, and our buddy all of a sudden got super paranoid and assumed this guy was trying to screw us over. And he imprisoned him, and we're like, settle down.
Act like his best friend, and then as soon as they went into the area, he slammed a door and locked it, and was like, I got him. I was like, what are you doing?
He was like smoking the pipes with him, and it was all friendly, and all of a sudden he was
drinking beer all afternoon while Rob's character was working, and then all of a sudden it's like that flipped.
It was weird. Yeah. That's our friend, though.
Yes.
But they also mention, Donovan here mentions that you can't paint NPCs as the same way you can in a book or a movie, because you don't have time. Like they meet the guy, they don't have passages of, oh, this person did this, he's so great, he did this, he's so charismatic. It's you meet him and you get that instant, okay, this is what he is. Hopefully they get what you want. And he also says that settings don't generally gel into a campaign. So if you want to do Men in Tights, how do you do Men in Tights? Not Men in Tights. Actually, Pat put that in my brain. Do Prince of Thieves. If you don't have Sherwood, you don't have.
Why wouldn't you want to do Men in Tights, though?
Well,
Carrie Elway.
Yeah, much better movie.
No?
At least Carrie Elwes was actually British.
Dave Chappelle.
I don't think Carrie Elwes is British, but Dave Chappelle's in that movie.
Yeah, he plays the Morgan Freeman character.
I didn't know that. I haven't seen that movie in forever. It's a classic.
You went to the theater to see it.
I'm pretty sure I did. Anyways,
I didn't get invited, so I didn't
Jack
get
never
to see
invited
it
to
then,
any fun. That's what thing is.
That's right.
He says currently the only two games that kind of do this right by using this is Star Trek and Star Wars. And he says Star Wars does it by setting the whole game after the movies. At the time, the movies after. Yes.
Yeah.
After Return of the Jedi. So all the there's no characters from the movies in it. There's archetypes, like you can have a scoundrel or a Jedi and stuff. But so Star Wars does that way, where Star Trek does the opposite, where you're playing pretty much. It doesn't say that you should play the Star Trek people, but it gives you all the stats for them. And if you try not to play them,
well,
your characters
having
aren't
played
good.
the fastest Star Trek, I will say what makes it better, or makes it so it works like he says, is your character creation. Is you actually put them through the academy, and you do different roles, or you pick, and then when you come out of the academy, you're assigned a ship.
Yeah, but he said that doesn't work very well because you're such low level that you can't act like the actual people. You don't have the skills to be like the actual heroes.
Yeah,
that's kind of what he's saying. Like if you do it that way, it wouldn't really work out for the Star Trek. So you're supposed to kind of play those guys. I'm sure it's all about the GM. If GM can do it. Right.
Oh yeah, you could. I mean, I think
I'd much rather play as my own person than as one of the characters. So
I would too. And
he says, "Good luck making licensed games. They never work out." And of course, now we have so many licensed games, and some of them are award-winning, like Blade Runner and Aliens. They've won huge awards. So, but it must say that those games ignore playing the characters from the movies generally, and that you're actually just playing in the setting. I think that always works. You play in the setting, not actually playing the characters. Because once again, are you going to play Han Solo like he should be played, or are you going to play him like,
Yeah.
That's always the issue, is the player characters actually playing things. And how interesting is that to play someone that's already exists? You kind of shoehorned at that point, right? So
yeah.
It's an interesting little editorial about it. And I wonder if Dale A. Donovan, if he had lived, would have been interested to see all the current licensed games, because there's literal companies that just license games. Like there's
and everything is a license. Robotech, Voltron is coming out now.
Like I say, like Modifius and Free League, like all those companies, they're all licensed games. So
yeah,
Strange Machines and what's the other one?
Stranger Things.
Stranger Things has the stuff. Yeah. Anyways, there's lots of companies just making licensed games now. So,
I would argue that it's almost all licensed game now, with a few of the original.
Yeah, true. I agree. There's probably way more licensed game than there is non-licensed games. Anyways, that was my little article. We'll go back to Patrick. You're back to the beginning.
Let's go to page 18.
18.
Dragon's Bestiary. There's not too much to say about this other than that you got some new monsters.
Biclops.
Biclops. These are basically underground monsters too.
It's an Etten with only one eye. It's a Biclops.
Yeah, it's the offspring of an Etten and a Cyclops.
It was Spike Jonze though, so classic Spike Jonze.
Yeah.
Again, April Fools. I would have went. Very clever. This, I won't use it.
How about
And then they have the Abrix, yeah, which is they're calling them cave devils. I mean, these are all nice. If you're running out of monsters or things to do, there's the cushion fungus.
Ooh, it's like a little bed that you go to sleep forever.
You think it's a bed, and then you die. You're poisoned because you lay on it.
They are kind of silly.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that these bestiaries they're starting to get a little thin as far as
it's because
the amount of creatures you get. Before you used to get 5 or 6. Yeah. Now we're only getting 3 at a time.
And also, I thought you meant thin as in like they're really stretching ideas, because by now, how many monstrous compendiums are there out? There's so many creatures available. Like,
yeah,
you're running out of ideas.
I don't know if we're running out of ideas at this point, because the Biclops is kind of a stretch, but the Abrix is not so bad. It's always nice. You can always have a million different kinds of funguses.
Said the drug user.
Yeah. Ooh. But the amount of creatures we're getting now out of these things have dropped dramatically.
Yeah, just 3, but they always have pictures now, which is nice.
Yeah. Well, last bestiary we only had 3 creatures too. So
must be maybe as a mandate just to do 3 now.
Yeah.
Okay, Jack, what do we got for your second and last article?
Page 8.
Page 8.
Page 8.
That's the editorial.
7. We're going to go to we're going to go to D&D articles. It's on the left-hand side. We are doing it says and I'm not going to read the whole. It's a letter to the editor. Dear Dragon, I recently took great pleasure in investing $20 in the new Easy to Master D&D set. Now we've discussed that. That's the new box set that came.
The black box
comes with the some standees and some cheat sheets and some a very reasonable starting point for D&D. Then he says Drag Magazine he would like to see because it's basically AD&D now, everything in it. He said he'd like to see more D&D because it's just released, and you're going to have a lot of, like he says, young players, and they're going to want more source material, like more from Dragon Magazine than what's with the source material. And I guess that's, synergy. That's what this magazine is. When we break it right down, this isn't a catalog for TSR. It's a ad for TSR's products. So it makes sense. Then he says maybe if they invented a system where you could, translate AD&D into D&D. I disagree. I think at that point you just play AD&D. If
you're going through that much trouble, you already know what you're doing. Like, why would you choose to play AD or D&D unless if you knew how to play AD&D?
Like on an official level to create a system, I don't see that. In my mind, it's, I see this in the magazine, I'm going to do it myself. I'm not going to ask for someone else to do it, whatnot. And then finally he's saying, he's got to see it. The box apparently came with the ability to get Dungeon Magazine and Dragon Magazine. Now, I don't know exactly how that worked. It's just mentioned in the letter, which is good. Obviously, again, you're getting more eyes on TSR's products. And then he said he'd appreciate those improvements. Then then the editor wrote back, well, we have been running articles for a series of a year and a half of D&D, Voyages of the Princess Ark. I didn't know that was for D&D. Again,
I always assumed it because it seems spelljammery to me.
They're in a flying ship, as far as I know.
Yeah,
And it wasn't until I read that and I said, yeah, that article predates Spelljammer by a lot.
But I thought it was it seemed like it wasn't flying until Spelljammer came around. I thought it was a normal ship, and then all of a sudden Spelljammer came, and then all of a sudden it's a flying ship. That's what it felt like to me. I've never read one of these stupid Princess Ark, and I'm really against them. But
I'm not against them, but I don't read them because it's not something I would do or use.
Clearly, I didn't read enough, nor did the no name, no address given person who wrote this.
I will
no one's
say,
read this thing.
I will say that in the beginning of these things, it now rings a bell that someone had said that this is geared for the D&D Beckme incoming rule booklet.
For Princess Ark?
Yeah.
So...
yeah. I think Jack's just trying to prove a point that no one reads that article.
I was like, I didn't know, and then the two of you said you didn't know, and maybe this guy didn't know, but I guess that's what it is. It's a D&D long running D&D.
Yeah, I guess
campaign.
So. Campaign.
It is basically a campaign setting.
Yeah,
when
it
is. Comes down to it.
Yeah, it's if you follow along with him every month to play in the same world. I do like this way he's pretty much saying, yeah, if people wrote articles for D&D, we'd publish them, but nobody does, so we don't.
He does admit that it would make sense when re-releasing D&D to have a bunch of D&D, material available right off the hop, but he just said it's just they know it's a problem. It's a problem.
That's the thing with this magazine. There's no staff writers. It's all submitted, right? So you only get what you get submitted. You can't ask for somebody to write, hey, can you write this article about D&D? It's not what Dragon is. Dragon is all user submitted. There's no staff writers. So there's guys who write a lot and they're in the magazine a lot, like
right.
Bruce Hurd, who does the Princess Ark, but he's not on staff. He's a freelancer. So if he wanted to stop doing it, he'd just stop doing it. So.
Yeah, you're not going to tell Ed Greenwood, enough of this horseshit with that. What are you doing for Dragonlance? No, we need D&D.
Yeah, so Ed Greenwood is on payroll because he's written stuff, but he only writes Forgotten Realms stuff. That's his thing.
Yeah, you're not going to tell him that he has to write D&D. This is my point. Like he has to write certain things. He's writing what he wants.
Yeah, and we have noticed there is a lot of D&D articles. We've pointed them out. Like a lot of them are like, hey, this is made for D&D. And we're like, why? So obviously there's people who want it out there. So
yeah, I mean, I don't mind it. I every once in a while enjoy playing a red box character game, like one shots.
I don't see the point.
It's fun.
Well, Rob, I think when we went out to dinner last weekend and we had a 9 and a 13-year-old saying they wanted to play D&D, I think our buddy, the children's dad, was like, I bought them 4th edition. No, he bought them 5th edition, and was like, it's unplayable. It's unusable. Like there's no way I'm going to get my teenage kid involved in this. Is a matrix of convoluted nonsense.
Tell him to buy the Beckme rule booklet, so he'll have all the box set rule booklets.
So but he was like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, you know what you need is D&D. The basic set from 1970. Here you go, youngster.
Well, you can buy, like I said, you can buy the Beckme rulebook for like, what is it, $35 on Amazon or something?
They still sell it, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
and it combines all basic, expert, champion, masters, and immortal.
Yeah. So you just have to read the basic at first, and then you keep going as you go.
Maybe I didn't know there's.
Now I didn't think it was still available either. Yeah.
No, but because they want to play, and you can't tell them, oh well, you'll be a fighter warlock with these reactions and these feats and these.
I barely understand it, and I've been playing for 40 years.
Imagine trying to teach a teenager. But by the time you were halfway done, he'd be like, "Yeah, I don't want to play D&D anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I've got video games."
Give him a dwarf or a fighter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, what's this? Okay, well, this is what you have.
I mean, if
let's
you
go.
even want to go the cheap route, you can even go through Drive-Thru RPG and buy it.
Yeah. Well. Anyways, yeah, it's a good point. So that was the same reason they put out this box set, the black box set, was to get people playing. So I think what's old is new again, because they should do this for current D&D, a basic set, instead of trying to pump people into 5th, which makes no sense.
Well, now it's not even 5th anymore. It's the new improved.
It's like 5.5 or something now.
5.5 and I haven't heard a thing about it.
It's very.
I've heard bad things about it.
I've heard bad things. I've heard good things, but what I've heard is nothing but controversy.
You're right. I've heard a lot of bad things like that, but I haven't like it.
The actual system,
no one said, "Oh, the revolutionary thing," or "This is what makes it."
I will say,
like a wet fart.
I did play a game of 5th edition, not the 5.5. And it was okay. It wasn't kind of my thing, but I will say, if you play 5th edition, I think 50% of that's who you play with. If you're going to enjoy it,
I think it's all role playing games. That's true.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. Yeah.
I didn't feel like the rules were any. Having never played 5th edition, I didn't think the rules were over the top or dumbed down in a sense, but there was a set of cards I know you did use to keep track of your feats and stuff, because there's still feats and stuff in there.
Right, it's like 3.5. It's pretty much 5th is just 3.5 redone. That's all it is. So it's Pathfinder. What 5th is actually Pathfinder.
Just going to say, a lot of people say Pathfinder was the pinnacle.
Yeah.
And it's hard to argue that.
I argue it because Pathfinder is too complex also.
But for me, 2.5 was you went from the basic system that was too basic as far as I was concerned. The AD&D got got the everything working and get everything kind of meshing. 2.5 perfected it, and then after that,
it started going downhill again.
I don't know. When I played afterwards, it was a mixture of 4th and 2.5.
No, I played 4th at a Gen Con, and after that was not. Never played it again. I bought my dumbass bought the books prior to playing the 4th edition game.
Really, you?
Wow.
Just buying without
thinking,
without a care in the world, like a.
Yeah, it was not. And then we played, and I was like, God damn, this is like playing a board game. I don't like it.
It's
and it turns out that's basically what those board games that they put out, like
Underdark
Dritz's game and the Ravenloft one.
Yeah.
They're all connected. Those are all just basically 4th edition.
It's a HeroClix-esque way to look at role-playing games.
Without clicks.
Without the clicks, yeah. It's just the same idea, though.
Yeah.
Anyways,
but
tangent.
When you liked miniatures and you had the rules for 2.5 and you could kind of blend the two, the best of both worlds, no more theater of the mind, more like
more on the board,
visual. Yeah. Some people will like that better. But anyways, yes, tangent.
I don't know how
whose article was that?
Yeah,
whoever that was.
Jack, I don't know how you did that to us, but you did it.
Oh God.
Let's go to page 28.
And it wasn't even an article; it was just a letter.
Yeah, it was one little letter. It was like five sentences long. Role-playing reviews, State of the Art and Superheroics, Part 3. I'd say all of these. I didn't have Kingdom of Champions, but I had every other thing he's talking about here, which is interesting. This is who did this one? Alan Varney, the vampire. He wrote this article, but it's about the new Marvel Heroes basic set, which is the revised edition. The Uncanny X-Men special campaign box, which I had, and all the DC I guess you call them splat books, but they're all like all the different source books detailing heroes. But this Alan Varney, he hates those.
He hates all of them?
He hates anything that just has a bunch of characters and their stats, and where they literally the X-Men book and all the DC books, which are Justice League, New Titans, and Swamp Thing source books, where it just details the characters and like playing that world. He hates them. He was just like, I don't understand what the point of these are, and he's like, meanwhile they're like the highest selling ones for these companies because non role playing people buy these books because they're like, oh, I want to know about all the characters. Like even at the time, I didn't play the DC ones, but I still bought them all. But yeah, so he really rips into these source books. Just the X-Men one, he said it wasn't horrible because it's a box set and it came with maps and things like that. There was a bit extra stuff, but he hates the idea of just lists of characters. Like I guess he would hate like the Who's Who books, like the Guide to the Marvel Universe, these kind of books. He would hate those because that's all it is. It's just a list of characters. I did too. They're my favorite. I own all the hardbacks of them. So Varney, he really wasn't into that stuff. But he does go on to say the Watchmen supplement he thought was really good, but it's barely a role-playing game supplement. It's more like just like a weird source book where it's set in the world and there's like articles and stuff. Like he said there's barely any stats for anything in the book. I do own that book, and I remember reading through it, but I don't remember it being like that. But like he said, it's barely a game supplement, but he liked it because it was barely a game supplement. But the other ones, the Swamp Thing one, he's like, yeah, the one there's a adventure called Racing with the Rats. He said it's striking because if you're not going to believe this, it has nothing to do with Swamp Thing. He gets transformed by toxic waste into a regular person, and he has to go through suburban hell as an ordinary human trying to get a real job and all this stuff. He's like, why is this in this book? But it is pretty funny. But generally, I just thought it was really humorous how much Varney hates these books. He really went off on them. He was anger. There was lots of anger through the pages. And we're back to Pat. Any more articles, Pat?
Yes. Lastly, let's go to page 22.
22.
The Ecology of the galeb. I didn't know what this thing was. And it took all of one page to get to the meat and grind. I mean, this was so story-driven. Like, the pre-story was 3 columns, and you don't get to the monster till, like, the end of page 1, beginning of page 2. And basically what the galeb are, and just to speak, are just little, basically rock men. They look like rocks. Their nose and eyes are usually in the center of the broadest face of the rock. They have 2 appendages that act as arms or legs, and of course they move very slowly.
They're rock.
Yeah, everything else is pretty self-explanatory. They don't breathe, so they're pretty much immune to all breath weapons and extreme temperatures and stuff. But the one thing they're magically attuned to their environment where they live. So if they're taken away from their environment, they slowly start to die. And I think in game notes, they lose about 20 hit points a turn. And then once they get below a certain amount, they lose their ability to control stone because they have different things they can do with stone, like magic user spells and stuff they can do. So it's just a little weird creature, but, it was a lot of words just to get to that.
And I like how the picture has absolutely nothing to do with the monster.
There's no. When I saw that too, I was like, "What?" And then once
just people throwing rocks at people.
And I was thinking, are they throwing those little creatures at them? And I was like, I don't understand what's going on.
It's just a dwarf and a kender. It looks like just running away.
Yeah. I did the same thing. I saw that and I went, "Oh, they look like little goblins. Let's see." And I started reading, and like, they don't eat, they don't breathe, they just get their sustenance. I'm like, okay, that's a little weird. Then at the end, I was like, that's not them.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a nice little cool creature and stuff, but I just don't. It was a lot of fluff to get to the meat and potatoes. It was like they tried again emulate an Ed Greenwood Ecology, but they went way too far on this side this time.
Yeah,
and gave too much story and not enough sustenance.
Knowing Ed the way we do, he is the unofficial 4th member, our good friend Ed Greenwood. He would have said, "Hey, Robert, can you just dial it? Like, come on, dial it back. You're at about 11. We need you here."
I could see this manuscript hitting, and then I could see 2 giant red X's going in these first 2 columns.
Yeah, we don't need this. Let's just take this out. Yeah.
Yeah.
As always, it's a space filler, and it wasn't great. Jack, any more articles?
No, sir.
I do not have any more articles either. Pat, any more articles?
Nope, that's it for me.
We're gonna go to ads. I have there's gonna be a little story time with my ads, so you guys go first.
Go ahead, Jack. You only have one.
We go to page 119.
Oh, that's mine. Let's start the bit.
What bit?
Coming this fall. Okay, we have
fall.
discussed this ad because it's been three
I wonder
in
what
a
this
row.
is about.
Dark Sun. Okay, I have questions. I need answers, but
It's not
last
coming till the fall.
magazine, we had this ad, but we also had one on 121.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Spoilers.
now answers a little bit. So the first one's not as much of a tease. We've got this one now. 2 full-page ads in one magazine, full
One
color.
of which is completely useless.
Yeah, not just 2 though, Jack.
Now in the same magazine, page 123,
What? I just scrolled down some more.
finale of what I think was
It's supposed to be months of separating them. Yeah.
They told marketing create a campaign. They told the production team create this, and they came back and went, yeah, here's Dark Sun, and marketing was like, what about a 6-month no, just get it out there. So Dark Sun, here we are, Dark Sun World, our toughest challenge ever. Now I'm not going to read the whole thing. It's not as spoilery as you'd think, considering how much text's on there, and now that we've had this very truncated rollout of ads, like you'd think one more would have like some pictures.
Well, I think Torg was like a whole year of us going, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
And it built up this tension. We're like, oh, this is so exciting. This one, it's like...
This was 3 months.
3 months, and it was 2 of the months that ruined it.
And my fault with it is still that even though they've this big reveal, and Dark Sun, maybe not as much as say like
Planetscape or
with the
art,
one with the crown, the art. Dark Sun, I think, was the second best, like even better than Spelljammers for like just bold art.
And meanwhile, they have no art here. Yeah,
and you got what looks like on Tatooine you would buy a faulty gonk droid. Like it is
gonk.
It's nothing.
Yeah.
So
it is odd that they have all this amazing gladiatorial stuff and they're not using any of the art. Yeah.
Well, they did, but they used it for another
supplement.
Yes.
Yeah. But I do love it. I think I wonder if it was like Dragon's fault. They're like, we have these ads, and they're like, yeah, we'll put them in. They forgot to put them in a few months, and they're like, shit, we got to put these ads in. They paid for these already. We got to put these in, and they just like shoved them all into like three issues instead of 6 months that were supposed to be.
Like six months ago, they said, "Oh yeah, we'll put a Dark Sun in," and then the editor's just moving this, moving that, and you see the pile. It's on his desk, and then all of a sudden he's getting, we got this, and it goes on top, and then one day, I got to throw out some of this crap. What? Oh God,
we were supposed to put these in
July. Dark Sun comes out.
Yeah. What have we done?
It's possible. It's possible.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. It seems like as a campaign goes, like as a advertising campaign, it was failed horribly.
Yeah, it
was very truncated, and the end result. Now I haven't read ahead, so I don't know.
Yeah,
it was so truncated and surprising to me that I literally went back and wait a minute. Was that first ad telling us it was coming this fall, and then in literally 4 pages, it showed up already?
Yeah, it's like. You forgot one step. But yeah, I haven't read it ahead either. I wonder if the adventure continues. Maybe in the next coming weeks we'll find out.
So maybe we're going to get some of the classic artwork that you see, because there's a lot of like tattoos and a lot of like gritty. It's very stylized. So maybe this is just part of a longer campaign. But for me, it was...
Yeah, that classic shot of the gladiator with the helmet on and the net in his hand and the trident, like that. Those kind of shots, like maybe that art's not even done yet. Maybe this is like real pre-marketing, but they just went crazy with it. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, hard to say.
They've got 16 works of art, and it's like, all these are just slaves. What are you doing?
We can't show these.
We can't show these.
Anyways, that's our Dark Sun adventure. Pat,
Yes.
what's your first ad?
Let's go to page 97.
97. At least this is an ad. This is an article.
I know, but I'm just going to use it as an ad.
How?
Because I'm only
before.
I know, because I'm only talking about just the pictures.
I had Vampire the Mists. I read that book.
Yeah. So I mean, I didn't read the reviews. I just looked at the pictures and I went, oh, those are the two Spelljammer books that actually made me like Spelljammer.
You actually read Spelljammer books?
Yeah, I did. Because I think my roommate had it, or my buddy had it, and I said, all right, look at borrow them. I didn't pay for them. I just read them.
Yeah.
And then I got the Night of the Black Rose, which I thought was one of the better Ravenloft setting books.
I had Vampire the Mists, and it's by Christy Golden, who's now famous for writing Warhammer stuff, 40K stuff. So she must have been pretty young at this point. She's not that old now. So
no, not at all. So
she must have been really young. Yeah,
20s, 90s.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to point out the books. I didn't want to talk about the article.
Okay, I'll let it pass. For my first article, we're going to go page 62. 62, it's actually 2 pages, 62 and 63, which makes it hard to show. But it is a Phantasy Star 3 article for the Sega Genesis. I had this game. This was my first Japan RPG I ever played. And I have memories of this. I can still hear the music in my head looking at these pictures.
Really?
Yeah, like I played the hell out of this game. It was an adventure. Phantasy Star was fun. It's kind of like sci-fi and fantasy mixed together. Phantasy Star, like you had laser guns and stuff, but there was still fantasy tropes.
When I saw this, I saw the way the creatures are positioned and the maps and everything. I said, well, this is just Final Fantasy. And I know Final Fantasy was awesome. And then part of me was like, there's something about Final Fantasy about one didn't get released and then one was.
Yeah,
I forget. There's some lore behind it that I'm not a historian of in the least. But then I was like, well, is this just one of the ones that wasn't released as? But
Phantasy Star was like because Final Fantasy was, I think, I don't know, it was on Nintendo, I think, where this is the Sega kind of version of Final Fantasy. This is the Phantasy Star is the Sega. So it was the as Sega was like the poor stepchild. This is the stepchild to the Final Fantasy. But I loved it.
Yeah, I feel like Phantasy Star was probably their best seller.
It was very popular, but
yeah,
it was a fun game. This is.
I do remember at the time I was reading
Mascot
Penny Arcade quite a bit, and they reference Phantasy Star quite a bit in their early comics.
Yeah, it's really fun. And once again, if there's emulators out there, please let me know. Comment below. I would love to play this game again because I think I would be like right back there, little 14-year-old me. I think at the time.
It's like when I went back and played Ultima when we first started talking about it.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I've played Suki Conan.
I love that game
100 times, and I used to have it on my
new one's coming out.
3. Well, it's been coming out for a year, and I keep looking for it.
I think it's 2 months. I think they said.
Again, okay, but I still have my old PlayStation 3, and it wouldn't save unless you did something to make it. You had to make a pretend memory cartridge for it, and I used to know how to do it. And then when it was scalding hot this summer, and I didn't want to be outside, I said, I'm going to play that, and I didn't know how to save it to it anymore, and I was like, oh.
You should have done a classic Rob and just leave it on.
No, well, as soon as you died. Your game was over,
yeah.
So you don't get to.
You were playing death. What they call
it. You could have went back and just internet searched how to resave.
Could have done that too.
I probably could have, but
anyways, so yeah, Suikoden was a great game. You get hundreds of characters. You can create your groups, and there's synergies and shit. That's a great game. Anyways, enough about Japanese RPGs. Jack, do you have any more ads?
No, sir, I do not.
Because he's a rule follower. Pat, what's your next ad?
The next article was the Dark Sun bit.
Ad. That's it? That's your only other ad?
That's all my other ad.
Oh, let's go into my adventure in the Dreamtime on page 87. So I saw this and I was like, oh, Dreamtime, I remember this game. and I remember it's like way ahead of its time. This was a real interesting game. I started to look on the internet, and I think I fell into the dream time, or it's a Mandela effect, because this game does not exist. This game is not a game. This is by...
No.
What's that?
What is it?
No, it doesn't.
It's by ICE. This game, it's supposedly it's coming, a new concept in role-playing from ICE.
It never made it, huh?
As far as the internet can tell, this game never got released. It's not on any list of ICE. It doesn't even get listed as like a game in production on any ICE list. And like literally this ad is the only proof that this game it was a concept. So I don't know why I thought I knew what this game was. I don't know why I thought I read the history of this game and that it was ahead of its time and that it was a groundbreaking game. But somehow I did not. So the ICE at the time, I guess, was in a lot of trouble, even though it's around today. It's there was some bankruptcy and stuff right around this time, and a lot of things got canceled. They lost their Middle Earth license, and they were in big trouble. So they have the, I think they currently have, is it ICE that's the Roll Master and all those ones? I think they're still around doing those games, but this was the beginning and the end as a regular company for ICE. So this game never came out. So interesting that I have this weird dream about it existing. Why? That was my little story. Relax. It's coming. Lies.
And you told it so well.
Lies.
Anything else then we have to talk about, boys?
Mm-mm.
I suppose that bookends things nicely. We discussed a marketing campaign that failed, but a product that we all know and love, that we all know existed. And then the other end of the spectrum, a intriguing campaign, an ad that fosters the imagination to a product that
never happened.
I will tangent here for a second.
Oh no!
Because when we were talking about Genie and all the different BBSs, and the one I was thinking of, the free discs, the one I was thinking of was Prodigy.
Oh yes, Prodigy. That was like 3 months ago.
Yeah.
3 weeks ago, we did a bit about free entertainment.
Just for people who aren't watching this
to the internet. Yeah. That's what it was.
Prodigy. Prodigy Online.
It's just a teaser for you to go back and 2 episodes and find out.
And now you can comment on that episode. You can say it's Prodigy, dummy, and then Pat will look like an idiot now.
Don't you dare!
I want someone to quote me and say it's Prodigy, dummy.
Like a red fox.
and I'll play along with the bit too. I'll even answer back going, "Yo, yeah, that's it."
Yeah, that's right. Oh, and then weeks later they're like, "Oh, they're just fucking around." Anyways, this has been 172. We're like a third of the way through. So how's
really?
I think we're actually over a third of the way through, but whatever.
Yeah, we're getting close to half.
To what is the published final episode or final
or something? It's
424 or something like that. Yeah.
The end of your patience with this bit we're doing.
Yeah, that could be next week.
Yeah, we got plenty. Our patience is
thin.
Very, very.
I don't know. We haven't got to where I had my subscription yet.
I know. Yeah, me neither. I haven't seen a lot of ones I have.
Bangers coming.
Yeah,
I know we've got a lot of good stuff ahead of us.
Yep, I agree. So we're going to be going for a while yet. Stay with us. Please come back next week. And we'll talk more about Dragon Magazine.
And role-playing games that we've never even read because they don't exist.
But they're in my mind. Anyways, I've been Rob.
I'm Jack.
And I'm Jobber.
We'll be back. Bye-bye. Comment below that you love Jack.
Bye-bye. I'm going to give the 1990s thumbs up.